Okay, we're about to dive into this incredible method for finding a really deep, profound sense of inner calm. But, this isn't some new age wellness trend you'd find on Instagram. No, this is an ancient secret, and it was forged in probably the last place on Earth you'd ever expect.
So, when you think about finding your calm, where does your mind go? Probably meditation, right? Or maybe a quiet retreat in the mountains. Well, forget all that. Today, we're going somewhere completely different.
Yeah, you heard that right. The technique we're digging into wasn't born in some silent, peaceful moment of contemplation. It was born in the middle of the absolute chaos of ancient warfare. It literally comes from a place that should be known for everything but being calm.
And get this method created a philosopher who was so legendarily calm, so unshakable, that Alexander the Great, the guy conquering basically the entire known world, he would go out of his way to find this one man right before heading into a massive battle.
And here's the really wild part. Alexander wasn't looking for advice on battle strategy. He wasn't looking for some deep wisdom. He just wanted to stand near him. He just wanted to feel what it was like to be around someone who was genuinely, completely, 100% fearless. I mean, that's a whole different kind of power, isn't it? So who was this guy?
His name was Pyrrho, the philosopher Pyrrho.
And Pyrrho's backstory is just incredible. I mean, he wasn't some rich kid born into philosophy. He started out as a painter, basically a nobody with no status. Then, when he's around 30, he joins Alexander's army and marches right into some of the most dangerous battles in history. But when he comes back, he's not some war hero. He's a completely transformed person. He's a philosopher whose calmness wasn't learned from a book. It was forged in the fire of real-world experience.
So, what on earth did he figure out on those battlefields? Well, he developed a method, a technique that he called ataraxia. And this is the secret to that complete, unshakable calm we've been talking about.
Okay, so what is ataraxia? It's really important to get this right. It's not about gritting your teeth and suppressing your emotions. It's not about controlling your reactions. It's about getting to a state where there's just nothing inside you that needs to react in the first place. No fear of what people think, no craving for approval, zero attachment to how things turn out.
And Pyrrho's whole idea boiled down to this one powerful insight. He said, most people make themselves nervous before anyone else gets the chance. Think about that. We are our own worst enemy. We walk into a room already stressed out, already anxious, before anything has even happened.
I mean, just think about it in your own life. A job interview, giving a presentation, maybe even a first date. The second you decide you need something from that room, whether it's the job or their approval or just desperately not wanting to look like an idiot, in that exact moment, you hand over all your power. And trust me, people can feel that, and they can use it against you.
So how do you take that power back? This is where Pyrrho's method gets so practical. It's a brilliantly simple two-question technique. So before you walk into any situation that's making you nervous, you ask yourself the first question. What is the actual worst thing that can happen here? And I mean the realistic worst thing, not the crazy disastrous scenario your brain cooks up, the actual grounded in reality worst case, okay? And then you ask the second question.
Can I survive that? And you know what? The answer to that question is almost always a massive, undeniable yes. You might get fired. You might get rejected. You might feel embarrassed for a little bit, but you will survive. And the moment you really let that sink in, the whole situation just loses its power over you. It's like the fear just deflates.
There's this great little story about him that just captures the whole thing perfectly. A student comes up to him, all worried about his reputation, and asks, "But Master Pyrrho, what if people think badly of me?" And Pyrrho just looks at him, deadpan, and says, "And then what?" And the student, he had nothing. He couldn't answer. Because that's the whole point. When you chase a fear all the way to the end of the road, most of the time you find out there's nothing actually there.
Okay, so this all sounds great for some philosopher in ancient Greece. But does it actually work, in the real world, today? Well, let's put it to the test. Let's look at a modern, really high-pressure example.
So, let's set the scene. Imagine you're 17 years old and you're in your first ever sales job. We're talking high stakes, tons of pressure. It's like the perfect breeding ground for anxiety to just completely take over. And then, of course, a mistake happens. And it's not a small one, it's a big one. The wrong stuff gets shipped to a super important client. This is a costly screw-up. And you just know someone's head is on the chopping block.
So the boss finds out.
And instead of pulling the 17-year-old into his office for a private chat, he calls him out right onto the main office floor, in front of everybody. And he just starts yelling, laying into them, calling them careless, unprofessional. He is absolutely looking to get a reaction. He wants to see them crumble.
But in that exact moment, instead of pure panic setting in, something else happens. Piro's little two-question method kicks in. The internal monologue goes something like this. Okay, what is the absolute worst thing that can happen right now? He fires me. Okay, and then what? I'll find another job. And that's it. That's the entire catastrophe, right there. It's survivable.
Now the boss, he was expecting the whole show. He was expecting tears, stammering, a whole flood of "I'm so sorries." He was ready for his power trip, but instead, what he got was this super calm, simple response. "I understand, I'll fix it today." That's it. No drama, no panic, just not playing his game.
And the effect? It was instantaneous. The whole office just went dead quiet. It was like the boss had taken this huge swing, expecting to land a massive emotional punch, and he just swung through thin air. He hit nothing. He was completely disarmed. He just turned around and walked away. And in that moment, the entire power dynamic in that office shifted, forever.
That story just perfectly illustrates the core principle here, the very heart of ataraxia. It's all about the unbelievable power that comes from needing nothing.
And this really brings us to the ultimate takeaway. The one thing you need to remember from all of this. Here it is. A room only has power over the person who needs something from it.
Think about that. When you can walk into any situation totally free from that desperate need for approval or validation or for things to go exactly your way, you become uncontrollable. You literally take all your power back because you've decided it lives inside you, not in what other people think or do.
So that leaves us with one final question for you to take with you. Think about what's coming up in your life. Your next big meeting, that tough conversation you've been putting off, your next major challenge. What room are you going to walk into needing nothing? And what do you think is going to change when you finally do?